Today on the Unofficial Shopify podcast, I am going to share with you anti-fart underwear. Yes, you heard that right. Our guest today is Collin White. He's the co-founder of Toodles, a business he started with his father to solve a problem that a lot of people don't discuss: bad gas. First question, how do you introduce yourself at parties?
Yeah, it's always an interesting conversation when you're at any kind of social event and people ask, what you do, and it's let's just put it this way: when you say that you sell underwear that removes the smell of gas, it's a great icebreaker in the conversation.
Like, oh, fart filtering underwear. You too?
Yeah, exactly. And so what's normally kind of like a socially taboo subject, it actually makes people very curious about the product. Like, it gives them an opportunity to actually get to talk about something that normally you don't really get to talk about at all. And most people have, all funny kind of personal anecdotes about flatulence and how they need to get it for their spouse. And so anyway, it always ends up being a pretty funny conversation. And they always ask, like, does it actually work? And
Yeah, this is not a gag product. This is a real thing.
This is a real thing. And so it's actually been kind of fun for me. I mean, in a previous career, now as a real estate agent. And so usually when you say you're a real estate agent, people are usually, trying to escape the room, when that comes up.
So how did this happen? How did you come to make fart filtering underwear?
Yeah, so I ended up starting this business with my dad, who's a general surgeon. He had his own private practice for over 35 years. And one of the things that so many of his patients that were going through medical conditions, post-surgery, they would always ask, their doctor about different things. But one of the things that they would always ask him, just kind of on the side, is just go, "Hey, doc, what do I do about this bad gas?" And so, there's a lot of anti-flatulent pills that are on the market, but, a lot of people are already taking a lot of pills as it is. And so what I think a lot of people wanted was basically a non-invasive solution to this problem. And so that started us on the path towards Toodles.
Who pitched it first? Like, I want to imagine the conversation where you go, okay, we're really doing this.
Yeah, no, it's it was definitely my dad who brought it up. And I feel like, and my brother's also a surgeon, and so it's funny when you're in the medical field, you have to have a really good sense of humor. And so it really started with just kind of like, oh, it's just a funny idea, and then it started evolving into, this could be a real product. And you start looking at the different materials that you could do and that you could use for it. And so it kind of just evolved from there, and we eventually just ended up launching it.
So when you pitch this to manufacturers, then you got to convince them this is real. What was their reaction?
They were obviously very confused in the beginning. And, when we'd send our designs, like our tech packs that we'd send them with their designs and how it would work, I mean, they were very confused for a little while. And then eventually, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, oh farts, yeah, oh okay, this is great." So, anyways, once you got past the confusion, they actually loved the idea, and actually got really excited about it, because it's a novelty product that I think all the manufacturers that we have worked with in the past all kind of saw the opportunity with doing something very unique and novel in this way. So anyway, it started weird, but then then we got on board.
Okay, and how does it work? It's activated carbon. Explain it to me.
Yeah, it's activated carbon fabric, which activated carbon's been used since the days of the Egyptians. They've used it for medicinal purposes, and then it really started, the fabric side to it really started to come into more use during like World War I, when they were putting them in gas masks for chemical warfare. And then that eventually evolved into industrial applications like wastewater treatment, water purification. So it's been long been used for filtering. And so when we were looking at the different options of fabrics you could use, I mean, activated carbon was clear the winner on how to on filtering. It was just about whether it was going to work or not. So we had to test it, and we eventually realized that it works.
How do you test it?
So we first, so we wanted to do it like the professional way first. So, we kind of put together our own little lab, and we took these hydrogen sulfide tanks. So hydrogen sulfide, that's what makes your farts stink. And so we would take hydrogen sulfide in these big tanks, and we would have a gas detector. And what we would do is we'd take a tube, and we would shoot the hydrogen sulfide gas through the fabric and see how much hydrogen sulfide that the gas detector was detecting. So first you do like a standard normal cotton fabric, and you would shoot the hydrogen sulfide through, and it would spike up the hydrogen sulfide. Then you would take our activated carbon fabric and you would shoot it through, and we had a timer as well. And you would see, you're like, it's not detecting any hydrogen sulfide. This is interesting. And then like a minute would go by, 2 minutes would go by, and then you would start to see a little bit of hydrogen sulfide come out. But then we realized, we're like, well, it's not like anyone is passing gas for 2 minutes straight. So I think we're going to be good.
Surely this product has evolved. Tell me about like iterations of the design, between
Right.
V1 and now.
Yeah, exactly. So we're on version 3.0 right now. When we first launched it, we had the activated carbon fabric was actually sewn inside the underwear. And so what we ended up realizing was the problem was that everyone's got to wash their underwear, right? So you toss
Again, don't judge me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no judgment. and so you throw it in the underwear. The problem was that when you would wash the underwear with the activated carbon fabric, is that the filtering properties would diminish significantly. I mean, more than 50%. And so we realized that it's okay. This is not a sustainable product that you wear it one time and then it doesn't work nearly as well the next time. Like, we got to make a change to this product. And so we ended up switching it to where then the activated carbon fabric is then a replaceable filter that you can take in and out of the underwear. It connects from the back panel to the front panel. It fits in just like a pocket. It's got a couple of tiny little Velcro strips just to keep it secure. And so that way you can wash your underwear. You could actually buy additional filters with your underwear. And I know like a lot of people still want to wash their pad a little bit just for like a personal hygiene standpoint. So I've always said, just like do a light scrub on the outside to clean it, even though it doesn't touch your skin. And but just don't throw it in the wash, or else it's going to really mess it up.
That makes sense. Okay. And it sounds like if I wanted to, I could like double up on filters. So is there a limit to what this thing can handle? Like, how do you indicate maximum damage rating?
Right. So it basically that can be a really tough thing to measure because it's all based off of like the person in so many ways. But from what it can handle a lot. We use a 3mm activated carbon fabric. Our original activated carbon that we used was 0.4 millimeters. So we actually increased the thickness of it, so it can really handle a lot. But it does, just like any other filter, like as you pass gas through it, it will clog up over time because it traps the hydrogen sulfide molecules inside the fabric. But if you're using it on a continuous basis, it'll work for 3 to 4 months each pad.
And then, all right, one thing, we're having a lot of fun about this. We're joking about it. It is a funny topic. Like, farts are inherently funny. I'm sorry. I have 2 teen boys in my house. We just know this. But when I told my wife we were doing this, she's like, that's stupid. Why are you shaming people, for passing gas? Now, like, what? People can't make smells? And yeah, I had to tell him, like, well, it's not, it's for people with medical conditions. Isn't that the case? I mean, assume anybody could wear these, but like that wasn't necessarily the intent.
Right, for sure. I mean, it's definitely for people who experience excessive gas. And while it is funny for anyone, I mean, it's, I've got a couple boys myself. I mean, they just think it's hilarious when they, when they pass gas and they see my reaction. And so it's definitely funny, but not when you have to pass gas all the time. And when you have to work in professional settings, like say you're a teacher, you're a nurse, and you're working in situations where you're with people all the time. And it's like, and if it's a chronic issue, it's like you kind of want to get it solved. Like, there's a context, there's a time and a place where it's funny. There's other times where you're just like, honestly, like, yeah, I'd rather not pass gas right now.
Right. Okay. I just, I wanted to get that objection out of the way and to give my wife a hard time for giving me a hard time about the fart underwear episode. Our next topic is marketing this, right?
Right.
This has to be a challenge because not only do you have to convince people that, they should buy the product, or you got to reach the right people. First, you need to convince everyone who looks at it that this is not a joke. This is not a gag gift. This is, I mean, you could give it like a white elephant gift, but no, this is a legit thing that solves a problem for some people. So, how do you tackle that?
Right. It's definitely like you've said. There's the two sides to it. There's the funny side to it. Like every comedian will say, like, farts are just always funny, and they always will be. So there's that side to it, and that's a reality. And then there's the other side to it, where it's like this is a medical product. And so really the marketing challenge with this brand is the art of striking the balance between the two. And, everyone appreciates kind of a sense of humor. Even my customers have shared with me a lot of, just the humor behind, buying it and using it. And so there is that side to it, but you got to also translate that to allowing the people to understand that this actually works and that this will actually solve a real problem for you. So it's really about just striking the balance. And it's more of an art than it is of just like, it's like, here's the formula.
And let me read the headline on your homepage to you. Cut the cheese, not the mood.
Right. Exactly. Well, and it's like, and that's where using euphemisms, I think, is, cutting the cheese, instead of just like fart all you want. It's just, it's a way of subtly addressing gas instead of just being too direct. And it just it makes it easier to talk about the subject when, and there's tons of euphemisms out there to use.
And I see for reviews, you're running Judge Me,
Yes.
which great. And Judge Me says you have 4.8 out of 5 stars based on 600 plus customers. Well, that's it's not easy to get that number of reviews. It's tough to get people to write reviews. So clearly, people believe in and enjoy this product. And when you start like looking at the reviews, you realize, this is a lot of, people with like a medical issue that they were self-conscious about, like you described, where it's like, all right, we're laughing about it right up until you realize why someone would seek this out. And it's like, okay, less funny. And I'm glad it's out there. Like this becomes a legitimate problem solving tool for something embarrassing.
Totally. And I honestly feel like a lot of customers are actually very passionate about the product as well. I mean, they just, they give me tons of feedback. I mean, I've gotten like essays of emails. I've had people write blog posts about the product, about how it's like really transformed their life. And so what you would think is just like a funny little gag product is actually something that really is helping people a lot. And sometimes you just don't even you're not even expecting that. And it's pretty cool to see that. And, we get a lot when it comes to reviews, reviews are always, can be a challenging thing to work with because it's like, is this customer fair with what they're saying? I think one thing that we've always, like we'll get like a 4-star review sometimes because maybe the design or the feel wasn't exactly to what they wanted. But at the same time, like our goal has always, when we've been designing, developing this product, was we want it to work. And we want, like, the first thing is always like the functionality. It's got to filter out the smell. And so that's why we've increased the carbon thickness so that there's not possibly a residual. And, but yeah, there's a little bit of like a bulkier feel to the underwear because it's got like a little bit of a thicker fabric. And so sometimes we'll get like a 4-star review for that reason. But I mean, I wear them all the time just because I'm in the business of it. I have to wear my product, and I find it actually comfortable, just like your standard underwear.
Okay. And how did you reach people with this? Like what advertising did you find effective in getting the word out there?
Yeah, so honestly, I think for me, like marketing strategy was like I wanted to always go for the lowest hanging fruit first. So it's like getting yourself set up, with Shopify and your, Google shopping feed, your Google ads, anybody that's searching for your brand, searching for your exact keywords, for this product. Same thing on Amazon, and just right there was just a bit of demand with hardly any competition. So I think that was kind of a start of like, okay, that's the first phase of marketing. Second phase of marketing was how do we continue to feed that top of funnel, because so many people just don't even know that this solution exists. And I think that's a problem that so many, especially niche brands, fall into, like that challenge. I just need more people to know it exists. And so, we run some Facebook ads, that help with some top of funnel, and we're definitely exploring more top of funnel strategies this year as well.
Such as
like going right to gastroenterologists.
okay.
And we, just in our local medical community, we've talked to just the gastroenterologists in our area. They've already been kind of recommending it to their patients. Gastroenterologists, like, they specialize in the digestive system, and so typically their patients are dealing with symptoms directly related to our product. And so I think that's going to be an area that we really want to lean into going into the future, going to the Digestive Disease Week, trade show, the DDW for gastroenterologists, and going out there and to be honest, like, with my dad, talking to my dad and my brother about how do you work with gastroenterologists. A lot of doctors just want to help their patients in the end, and you don't necessarily need to set up some type of affiliate program with the doctor. Like a lot of doctors, they just want to help their patient, and they'll say, hey, by the way, you can try this product. Listen, I don't have any type of ties to it at all, like financially. And honestly, like, I think that's probably a path that will probably go down that road.
I think that makes a lot of sense. If you could, you're right. A product like this, the problem is out there, but the people with the problem don't know to look for the solution. And,
Right.
But if they are going to find a solution, who are they going to look to? Like, okay, maybe Dr. Google, but potentially their actual doctor, or, get referred to a gastroenterologist.
Right.
And those folks are going to be, those are your influencers, right? And so if you can get them on board with an otherwise legitimate, safe product, that makes life a lot easier. Okay, I like the strategy. That's smart. So trade shows for what in your place are influencers.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because this is it's a quirky product, it's an unusual product. Do you have like a surprising customer demographic, or like, you said you get a lot of emails from customers, any weird requests?
I mean, people love to bring up kind of a new idea for your business all the time. I mean, I've even had someone say like, well, my dog has farts too. Like, can you just sign this for dogs? And I'm like, I don't know how that would work. Like, what if the dog has to like go to the bathroom? Like, I don't even know how that works. But I did grow up with dogs. I don't have a dog right now. I have kids, not dogs. And so I do remember like when my dogs got older, like, and they were in the car, you're just be like, oh man, really? So I do understand where that customer is coming from.
Yeah, no, they're like, look, I got this new problem. It's dog smells.
It's dog smells.
Can you assist? So,
Yeah.
are you running this solo? Is this just you?
It's just me. I have worked with freelancers, in the past, with different parts of the business, but I mainly just run it myself. And, it comes with its challenges. And I've got little kids. And so I have like limited amount of time and I got to accomplish what I can accomplish. But it's amazing how productive you can be. And I've always thought it was true when people say it's like, if you want to get something done, give it to the busy person. And I think there's a lot of truth to it, because it's when you're busy, it's like you're always looking for the path of least resistance and just be decisive and just getting it done.
So, looking at your site on the product page, you do several clever things. We call it the buy box. The product form, the area where people buy, is really well done. You try to up the AOV by letting people, instead of having a quantity selector, you're like, hey, do you want to buy 1 pair, 3 pairs at 10% off, or 3 pairs and 3 filters for 15 off?
Right.
That has to up your average order value. I assume that's the goal here.
A lot. The majority of the orders are bundles. Most of our orders are actually the 3 pairs plus the 3 carbon pads. And just that simple change has just boosted your AOV quite a bit.
If I'm saying, oh, I want to try this product, I'll buy the starter pack, that's a $50 order. But if I do the 3 pairs of 3 carbon pads, now the order jumps to $150. Yeah. So it triples my AOV.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference in your unit economics.
A huge difference.
All right, one thing I noticed on this, your size guide, it defaults to small. That if you ever have issues or notice you're having issues, because we do a lot of apparel sites, if you notice you have issues with like the returns where people say it didn't fit, it happened to just an unusual number of them are size small, it's probably because it's defaulting to small. So often on apparel sites, we'll set it to not default.
That is a great idea, because that is definitely happened.
All right.
The small, and it's, and it kind of creates a challenge when it's like, it's like you get all your Shopify orders, like from the previous day, and the next morning, I have somebody that helps with all the, shipping out all the orders, and then you get all the orders shipped out, but then the customer will say, oh, I accidentally ordered small. It's like I meant to order large. It's like, it's already
that's
been shipped
why
off.
we figured I have solved a pain for you today.
You know what? I'm going to get that done today, actually.
Now, one thing I noticed, you're selling, I'm buying the underwear, and then I've got the consumable good is the filter, but I'm surprised you're not selling the filters on a subscription.
Yeah, so that's actually something that we're going to explore and probably implement that this year. It's just, we did, like in my original version, we did a subscription for the underwear. And what happened was, with a number of customers, that they accidentally subscribed like pretty frequently, and they didn't even realize they were doing it. And then they were getting shipped all this product and getting recharged. And then they came to us just extremely angry about it. And so, I think it's with the filter pads, like you can buy your base underwear. Every underwear comes with 1 filter pad already inside of it. You can buy additional filter pads. And I think it's like maybe like a post-purchase, like, like email trigger, we could add this as a subscription option where they could continue to buy the filter pads, and which is much more cost effective than just buying a full new underwear. And it kind of keeps the cycle going a little bit more. So I think just what I want to do is I just want to kind of figure out the best path of doing that to avoid any kind of mistakes or anything like that. So it's more intentional.
That makes sense. Yeah, the subscriptions, the recurring revenue is addictive because having in an ecom business, well, in a lot of businesses, but ecom business especially, you don't have predictable recurring revenue in the same way you might in a different business. And so having that with a subscription really makes life a little bit easier. So how long have you been running this store on Shopify?
I've been running it for 2 years now. And I've always done Shopify, haven't done anything else. And yeah, I really. Why?
Yeah, what was the thing? You were like, clearly Shopify was the obvious answer for you. I want to know why.
Well, I think it's just the ease of use, and it has established itself as the industry standard for e-commerce. And so I think it's pretty obvious that, you always want to use the industry standard software. And so anyway, so that's kind of
hitch my cart to the right horse.
Yeah, and it has all the different apps, and it's all the other different businesses that are also investing into Shopify as well. So it's just the whole app store component to it. I think
that ecosystem.
The ecosystem
that really
huge. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I talked to a guy today who's like, he said, you didn't even ask me what ERP I use. I said, okay, what is it? He told me, and it was Fishbowl, and of course they have a Shopify integration. And so it's like, I didn't even have to really think about it to know it'll just plug in and work. But all right, what's your biggest frustration running a Shopify store?
Yeah, I think especially in the beginning with Shopify is that, I mean, as you can probably attest to with everybody that owns brands, everyone gets kind of obsessed with their website. And when you're started off with Shopify and you're working with the templates, it's always like, oh, I want to do this, I want to change that, and it's like you feel like you can get kind of stuck in a template. It's like, okay, maybe I should get a different template instead, and then it's like you're going through 5 different templates at that one point, and I think that's kind of a frustrating point. I've actually I've started using this app called Replo this year, which you may or may not have heard of it, but it plugs right into Shopify, and it's got a great kind of front end interface, so you don't really have to code or anything like that, and it allows a lot of flexibility. So yeah.
Is that what you built this homepage with?
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this thing looks good. Yeah. All right, so outside of Replo, do you have a favorite Shopify app or tool?
I mean, it's like I have the standard ones, Klaviyo is always been a good standard app to use. So I've always, and Judge Me, I love the price. I think I still pay $15 a month, with Judge Me, and it's, so I like, I'd say both of those apps have worked well for me.
Do you, well, I want to know what's next for Toodles. Activated carbon, you could potentially use that in other stuff. Maybe you put it in the underarms of my shirts in case I'm a real sweaty guy. Maybe you do, other styles of underwear. I don't know. What's next? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, great question. I would definitely say there's phases to where we can grow. And I think the next stage would be definitely just offering more styles of underwear. There's a lot of ladies that have asked for even a high, we have our hip hugger style, but I think even just having a full briefs that goes up much higher, there's a lot of ladies that are asking for that. There's also men's briefs. Right now we just do the boxer briefs, but men's briefs I think we're getting requests from that. So I think starting with some of those just newer, more styles, just for customer preference. And then I think the stage after that would be solving different body odor aspects. I mean, our core competency is obviously the activated carbon fabric. We've learned how to work with that fabric, which is not the easiest fabric to source and to work with. And so I think that's definitely one of the strengths we have going, and it can filter any kind of body odor. So like you said, for shirts with, sweaty armpits, for your socks, for smelly feet, I think we can definitely get into that space, but it's just a matter of a timeline more than anything.
And you're in such a unique position selling a quirky, silly, but serious product. So I want to know, what advice would you give to someone else who has a quirky but serious product?
I would definitely say, just from like the marketing challenge we were saying before, like humor is always good. People love being self-deprecating, and so you want to feed into that. I think it's great for social media in terms of reactions from people. But you also just have to get people to take your product seriously, that it actually works, so that you're not falling into the category of the gag gift. So I think really figuring out your marketing balance is, if you're in the quirky business, figuring that out.
It's, I'd agree with that advice, and I think you're doing a great job at it. If I wanted to buy this fart filtering underwear, Toodles, definitely for a friend and not me, where do I find it? What's the best place to get it?
You can go to weartoodles.com. So like you're wearing Toodles. So WearTootles.com. You could also search for Toodles underwear on Amazon. So both those places.
I like the name Toodles. It sounds nice. It's kind of cute. It's fun. I like it.
It's upbeat.
It's Collin, thank you for doing this. It's been a gas. I mean, it's been a blast. And thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you.